So how's it going, guys? This is Ryo Murata, photographer based in Tokyo. So this is actually my first video in my life that a company actually reached out to me to talk about a product, and if it's like related to film photography, I get really hyped. And Astrihori, which is a Chinese-based company, I think based in Shenzhen if I'm right, reached out to me and said that they are going to be releasing a new light meter, and they asked me if I am interested, and I said yes, I am. And they actually sent me the product, more like an overview. And because right now, as of 2024, during this time of period right now in Tokyo, Japan, a typhoon is coming across, and because it's like rainy season right now, it's not the best time to like test it during those seasons. So if the sun comes out, I am going to go out on a different day to like shoot with this a light meter on top of my main film camera, which is a GW690. And FYI, for your information, they actually shipped me a product called XH-2. And like I said, this product isn't being sold right now, but I will give you the further details of when it's going to be sold, the price, and etc. in the end of the video. So hope you guys tune into that. When I received the XH-2, it came in a super tiny box, and as always, you guys probably know when you do unboxing videos, it comes with a user manual if you get lost. And fortunately enough, this is a super simple light meter. If you have any like problems, you can basically refer back to the user manual. And a USB-C charging cable came with this package, which was unusual. I will dig into deeper into that area, and also the unit itself, which is super tiny. Okay, so what makes this like really unique compared to the Sekonic's offering is, like I said, the footprint is so tiny, and at the same time, because there's a sort of like a cold shoe attachment to the unit itself, you can basically put this on top of any kind of film camera that has a hot shoe. You can basically slide it in there, and you can basically forget about it for the entire day of the shoot. Well, don't forget about it, but you can basically shoot all day long. And because, like I said, the footprint's small, it means that it's like really light, and you really barely notice it when it's on the camera itself. I basically have this on my GW690 Mark III ever since it arrived at my doorsteps, and I have to admit it is really nice to have. And unfortunate to say, if you compare this with a Sekonic's like light meter, nothing wrong about Sekonic's, but my way of shooting when I use Sekonic light meters, I always have my Sekonic light meter in my back pocket, like left side, and when I need to meter, I basically have to reach out for it, pick it up, and I have to like meter like this. When I'm done, I look at the like settings, punch in the numbers into my camera, and when I'm done with doing that, I basically have to put this light meter back in my pocket. I guess that what I call procedure might be daunting for some, and for me it was starting to becoming daunting because when the light changes, I had to like take out my light meter, I had to like meter, and when the light changes again, or when I'm like positioning my camera to a different direction with a different lighting setup, I had to like meter again and put it back in my pocket. So that, I guess, when you do that 10, 20, 30 times throughout the day, I guess I'm losing valuable time. However, like I said, this XH2 from Astrihori, because the light meter is already on top of the camera, you can basically, in a speedy manner, you can basically check what the optimal like setting is, and you can basically punch in that number into your camera settings and just shoot away. So you can basically shave a lot of time using this type of method compared to the Sekonic's offering. We mentioned that the construction build is unlike, Sekonic's typical like all plastic type of construction. The Astrhori is completely metal. It's like a really dense metal, so it feels similar to Nikon's F3 if you ever held one. It's like really dense in my opinion, and it's like small and heavy. However, because the footprint is small, it's unnoticeable in my opinion. And also the hot shoe itself is also metal, so it's not plastic, so it won't break in the long term. For the operation, this is like super straightforward. There's only like one button at the bottom. When you click on that, it basically turns on the unit itself, and it basically shows the settings of the current like metering. And at the top is the shutter speed. I'll stick in a BTS. The second row is the aperture. The row is the ISO, and on the right side of the ISO, there's something called T, which is basically it's in shutter priority mode, which you can basically change the shutter speed. In my case, I basically shoot out to 1/25th of a second, 100% of the time. Unless if it's too bright, I basically increase it. But my default is 125 of a second. And one small like click by turning the dial is roughly 1/3 of a stop. So it's like similar to a Sekonic Lightmeter. 1 click is 1/3 of a stop. 3 clicks is 1 stop. Similar for this. 3 small turns is like 1 stop. So that's actually easy to understand in my opinion. And when you actually double click on this like what I call button right here, it turns into aperture priority mode, meaning that you can basically focus on the aperture and you can basically change this to like f5.6 if you want to shoot at f5.6 or maybe f8. I shoot at f8 or f11 most of the time. It tells you the optimal shutter speed on the other hand, so that's actually quite neat. And I guess the Sekonic's like previous L308 series did not have aperture priority mode. The X was actually the one that has the aperture priority mode, but they were able to accomplish that in this small tiny form factor. And last but not least is the ISO value, which is on the 3rd row actually. When you actually double tap it, and on the 2nd tap, if you like long press it, it goes into the ISO mode where you can basically change the ISO value. I shoot with Kodak 200 most of the time, overexposed at 1 stop. So I have it at ISO of 100. And obviously you can change this to 200, 400, and up to 6400. Or on the other hand, you can basically dial this down to ISO 5, which I never use. But for some people, I guess some people use ISO 5 as when shooting with a film camera, so that's quite awesome to see in my opinion. And also, last but not least, I keep forgetting this over and over again, but at the right hand bottom corner, there's this sort of like arrow that goes counterclockwise. This is basically the photometry is on the on mode most of the time, meaning that basically when you have this on your camera, when you tilt it downwards, when you tilt it to the sky, obviously the exposure value will change. This will automatically adjust depending on the angle of it, like simultaneously actually. Unlike the Sekonic Lightmeter, you basically have to like meter down, you have to meter up, and get 3 variable like varieties of settings. And you basically have to look at that, but this one on the other hand, it basically does it automatically, so you can basically check, oh, the sky's like overexposed by 3 stops or so. So this is much more efficient in my mind because I can basically understand everything in one reading actually, and it basically changes depending on the angle of where the light's hitting, so that's actually neat in my opinion. What's also neat about this system is that because this is sort of like a digital OLED screen, it actually consumes battery, and after 10 to 20 seconds in my case, it kind of automatically shuts down, not like fully shut down, but it goes into the standby mode, and when you want to reuse this, you just press the back button, and within less than 1 second, the OLED screen pops up and it shows you the optimal like setting to shoot in that specific setting that you had dialed in. And this goes into the charging method. And in the beginning of the video, I mentioned that it comes with USB-C, and now USB-C is like mainstream in terms of like charging, phones, iPhones, and I use Pixel phones right now. So, and I'm guessing that the majority of photographers nowadays carry a mobile battery or a power bank in North America. So when you actually run out of juice, you can basically power this via either from the AC outlet or from a mobile like battery. So in my case, I use this like fully 1 day, but the battery hasn't decreased that much. So because it uses a OLED screen, the consumption of electricity isn't that high, meaning that this actually lasts pretty long in my opinion. And instead of like carrying, those AAA batteries for the Sekonic Lightmeter, I always carried a AA battery for this, or AA, no, oh yeah, AA actually, which weighs quite a lot actually in my opinion. However, for this you don't have to carry extra batteries. I always carry a power bank in most of the case because I have to like shoot videos, I have to charge my batteries. So this is a game changer in my opinion. And yeah, considering the size and weight and the footprint, this is actually a marvel to see. I was actually contacting the representative from Astrihori, and I said that in Japan, a typhoon's actually sweeping across, And because it's like a rainy season, it's like hard to like shoot this, because I have to say that this is not fully waterproof at all, because like I said, there's a USB-C sort of like terminal right here, which is not waterproof, water resistant. So this is not, it's similar to the Sekonic Lightmeter, it's not waterproof or water resistant. So that's actually one downside of this product. However, ironically, right now when I was looking outside, it's actually sunny right now. So right now I'm just contemplating right now. I was just taking this outside to just shoot with my film camera, my GW690, at the Tokyo Telecom Center area, and just showcase just having this on top of the sort of like my film camera, just testing it out to see how it would perform compared to like using the Sekonic Lightmeter, which I've been using for the past couple of years. So coming back, I have to admit I enjoyed using this in particular compared to the Sekonics. Nothing offensive about the Sekonic Lightmeter. It does the job quite well. However, when using this size compared to this size, I mean, it's like it becomes inseparable in my mind, because you basically have this attached to your camera. You can't forget about it. Well, for this, I had to like bring this to a studio. I had to bring this to my workplace. I had to bring this to a lot of places. However, just film camera only, I can basically attach this on there, and I just can't like forget about it. And if I need to like charge it, I can basically charge it from my power bank when I'm like, I guess, changing my film stock within my camera, or if I'm taking a break, I can basically charge this up and have it up and running. And what's great about this product itself is that right now, like I said, this product isn't being sold right now, but it will be. They will start selling on June 6th, if I'm right, on their Astrhori's like official website, and you can purchase it for roughly $79, which is 1/4 the price of a Sekonic meter. And also, not to mention that the time would be roughly at 10 o'clock a.m. GMT 8 plus 8, if I'm right. So yeah, if you guys are interested, this is actually marvel to see, and for some people this might be the first entry point in terms of light metering. Okay, so this goes into sort of like something I should mention for you guys that's like really important. And because like I said that it charges using USB-C, the terminal itself right here is sort of like it's like uncovered, meaning that it's not waterproof or water resistant, and similar to the Sekonic light meter. If I drench this is gonna 100% die. And similar for this is fully electronic, and although it is made out of metal, it's not water resistant or waterproof, so you could damage it in the rain. Okay, so coming back from that shoot, I have to admit this footprint is really nice. Like I said, I can basically attach this to my GW690 Mark III without like taking it off. I can basically leave it there forever, and because my GW690 is my main film camera, I can basically just leave it there, while the Sekonic light meters, because I do studio work at my workplace, I had to bring this to my workplace, I had to take it home, I had to like and then shoot with my film cameras, etc, etc. So this is easily, I could like forget about. However, because this is like stuck on the hot shoot of the camera, I can basically forget about it and don't have to panic if I lose my Sekonic light meter. So that's actually one of the great things about this light meter. And in terms of efficiency and I guess preciseness, it is really in they actually made a bunch of like variations of this prior to this, and I have to, because I never used the prior versions, I can't comment on it, but in my case this is really precise in terms of metering. And because when I looked at all my negatives, film negatives, I wouldn't see like any kind of like deficiency in terms of brightness, if it looks like super overexposed or not. It is actually there in terms of preciseness. So that's actually one of the great things of this light meter, and it's also great to see companies like this, like Astrhori, like making it in this tiny footprint, which is like a sheer size of what you call the hot shoe of the camera. And if there was a sort of like a negative to point out, or maybe I guess areas that they could improve on, I would say that when you put this on top of the hot shoe of the camera, because I use a rangefinder, this is not problematic because the finder is on the left side. However, when you use an SLR, because because it's sort of like a not rectangular, but it's sort of like a long footprint, meaning that this back side will actually protrude on the top of the camera. So there's this like chance that it might hit your head when you're looking through the viewfinder. So I mean, I don't use SLRs, while I use a Nikon F3. However, that's an exception because the hot shoe is located on the left side on a Nikon F3. So if you use any kind of SLRs, you have to like keep a note that this area at the backside might protrude and might hit your head when you're like looking through the viewfinder. So that might be a downside for some. But if they can shrink this a little bit, not backwards but maybe sideways, this might be a better, I guess, product in my opinion. So yeah, hopefully they'll watch my videos and make some kind of improvements on that. But nevertheless, it's like hard to say, but this is already a great product, and it's probably going to be hard for them to like make it even better. So in terms of this footprint and the size. So yeah, that's basically my coverage of this sort of like light meter, the Astrihori's XH-2. Hopefully this video is not too long. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it informative. If you have any questions, I'm happy to reply. And I forgot to mention the price of this product is going to be $79, which is 1/4 the price of the Sekonic light meter, which is also insane in my opinion. And they will be releasing this in June 6th, if I'm right. GMT plus GMT 10 o'clock a.m. GMT plus 8 hours, if I'm right. I'll stick information right here and also in the description area below for you guys to check. So yeah, that's basically it on my coverage of this Astrihori XH2. And I have to like thank the people there for actually reaching out to me to say that they would like to like send this new product that's not being sold right now to me directly via Instagram actually. So that was actually surprising. I thought it would come through email, but they kind of approached me from Instagram. So that's a really nice experience to have. So yeah, If you have any questions, leave it in the area below. I'm happy to reply. And yeah, we will see you next time. See you again.